going to do a quick screencast explaining question 2 from the quiz Decimal Models and Symbolic Representation. So basically, I'm going to just do the problems that were part of that quiz question. So the first question was, if you have 8 tens, we want to know how many ones that is equal to. So I think the easiest way for me to explain this is going to be to think about base pieces. So let's use kind of what we're used to, which is tens being the longs. And the question is, if I have 8 of these tens, well, how many ones is that? And so you can think of each one of these tens, whoops, try that again, is the same as 10 ones, right? So imagine taking one of these longs and breaking it up, and you're going to get 10 babies, or 10 ones out of each one. So I'm sure I don't need to write each one of these. So I'm going to have, okay, all 8 of these, and each of these 8 is 10, so that's going to be, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that's going to be the same as 81s. All right, I'm going to clear that, start the next one. So then, same thing, I've got 2 ones. And I want to know how many tenths. All right, so I'm going to stick with the whole number base pieces. This is just for explanation purposes. As you have seen, we kind of change the meaning of base pieces depending on what we're working with, but I just want to kind of stay standard here. So I have 2 ones, and I want to know how many tenths that would make. So when I am taking a whole object and I am making tenths out of it, that means I'm going to split it into 10 equal parts. So that means this baby would get split up into 10 teeny tiny little pieces, right? So this would be 10 tenths, and this one would be 10 tenths. So altogether, 2 ones is the same as 20 tenths. Okay, so you can see it's just, a multiple of 10 there. All right, next one. So I have 4 hundredths, and I'm going to turn those into thousands. So essentially, I'm going to take each one of the hundredths. I'm going to break that into 10 pieces to make thousands. So if I'm already at hundredths, the next place value over is thousands. So I have 4 hundredths. When I break each of those 4 hundredths up into thousands, I get 10. So I have a total of 40 thousandths. Okay, so you can see that I've kind of stopped doing the base pieces. I was trying to use that to get started. So I'm going to do the next one. So this one is a little bit different. It starts with 8 tens, and I want to know how many tenths. Well, my suggestion is maybe think of this as doing an intermediate stop. So I'm going to have to break things up twice to go from tens. So if I take a 10 and I break it into 10 pieces, I'm going to have ones. And if I take a 1 and I break that into 10 pieces, they'll be tenths. So I'm going to have to do it twice. So I think what I'll do is say, all right, 8 tens. All right, think of it as 8 $10 bills. It's another way to think of this. 8 tens is the same as 80 ones, right? And then 80 ones, okay, so think of it as you have 80, right, $1 bills, and somebody's going to change that in for dimes. How many dimes are you going to have? All right, so that would be 10 for each dollar bill. So my answer there is going to be 800. Okay, 2 more to go. I'm going to clear this off. All right, the next one is I start with 2 ones, and I am going to hundreds. Okay. So again, I've got an intermediate stop here, so I need to take the ones and I need to break that into tenths, and then I'm going to take the tenths and I'm going to break that into the hundreds. Okay, my money analogy is going to work again on this. So if I have 2 $1 bills and I'm going to break that into tenths, I'm going to end up with dimes, right? So if I take a dollar bill and I split it 10 equal ways, that gives me dimes. I'm going to have 20 dimes. And then if I take a dime and I want to split that into 10 equal amounts of money, that's going to give me pennies, right? So 20 dimes, if I turn that into pennies, is going to require 200. Okay, so 2 ones is the same as 20 tenths, is the same as 200 hundreds. All right, and last one. I'm at tenths, and I'm going to go to thousands. All right, so there's a spot missing. It goes, if I'm in the decimal system, right? Right after the decimal place, this is tenths. This is hundreds. And this spot here is thousands. Right? So I have to go from 4 tenths, turn it into hundreds, and then turn that into thousands. So 4 tenths is the same as 40 hundreds, is the same as 400 thousands. I'm not sure I wrote that again because I could have just filled in the blank. All right, so I wrote this down here just to show, again, one more way to think about this. Right, so this is my tenths spot, so this says 4 tenths. If I fill in zeros here, that's the same as 40, right? 40 hundredths, or 400 thousands. All right, I hope that helped some.